Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are good. On today's video I will be sharing with you guys information regarding Maldives and the cost implications, the requirements traveling from South Africa, and all of those details. I hope you guys do enjoy the video. If you're not yet subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. Hit that subscribe button. So flights, I used cheapflights.com to book my flight. So with that site you can obviously play around with the travel time, your costs. You guys can go back and watch that video on booking flights. I did it, I think it's the third or second video on my channel, and my flight cost about 9,000 rand, but I think that had to do a lot with the time that I wanted to arrive in Maldives. I used Singapore Airlines, so from South Africa to Singapore was about 9 hours or so. Then I had a 3-hour stopover, and then from Singapore to Maldives was another 3 hours. But you will find even on that site flights that are a little bit quicker, but usually they are a little bit more expensive, so you can just play around with that site. To book accommodation, I use booking.com. I also have a video for you guys on booking.com and how to play around with it. The accommodation that we booked is about $1.4 dollars, and that would be for 9 nights in this beautiful resort, and it includes half board, which is including your breakfast and your dinner, with some non-alcoholic beverages, which is like coffee, tea, juice. No alcohol. So alcohol you pay an additional price for. However, if you are on full board, you do get the full package. I'll share a little bit more about that on this video as well. Guys, so I'm just going to do like a cost summary for you guys. My flight was about $633, and accommodation was about $1,378. And nights is the first night we stayed at the sea view room, and that was $114 per night. We also paid green tax of about $120. So another compulsory cost is transfer by boat. It's also important to check this before you book your accommodation, because there are different transfer costs for different resorts. So for our resort, the transfer cost was about $171 per person return, and you also have to pay for a PCR test at this moment, since we have COVID and all of those things, and a PCR test was about $100. So the compulsory cost that you can't do without, which is like your accommodation, your flights, your PCR test, your transfers from the airport. And then you also have like costs, that are now up to you. So like if you want to have alcoholic drinks and all of those things, you could pay ranging from $3 to like $35 for their gin. Like they have a house brand gin that's like about $3. A glass of wine is about $5. And a bottle, because I also had a bottle of sparkling wine, Prosecco, that's about $31 like per bottle. And just bear in mind that most of these costs are excluding the 10% service charge and 12% tax. Yeah, so other costs would include like just your activities and things that you want to do. For example, I did a snorkeling trip, which was about $75. We went to 2 reefs and we went to the sandbank. But you have like different activities. So kayaking would be like $25. We also had like a fishing option to go, like sunset fishing, which is you just go by boat in the evening. Fishing trip, that was about $45. So yeah, it also just depends on what you want to do, and it also depends per resort, I'm assuming, all those activities, how much those would cost. But more importantly, guys, when you're checking your accommodation, just make sure that you check that your accommodation, how far is it from the airport, how much are you actually going to pay in transfer costs, because we also, like, I saw like some really, really beautiful places, but they were like so far from the airport, and you'd end up paying like $365 per trip, so just things to consider and to be sure of. Other things to be mindful of about Maldives is like a Muslim country, so a lot of places actually don't even serve alcohol. So our resort did serve alcohol, so if that's like a big thing for you, just check that out. A little bit more reserved, the place is not as wild. So preparations for Maldives, other than packing your clothes, packing your bikinis, your nose, preparing your hair, your nails, everything. I'll just tell you guys about the formal preps that you would need to do. So I'll just share with you what was actually requested at the airport and then what I actually prepared, because I usually prefer to be a little bit over prepared than under prepared. So what I actually did prepare was, obviously you should have your passport ready. For Maldives, South Africans do not require a visa, so you don't need to do like a visa before you travel. However, you do get a visa on arrival. So these are just some of the documents that you should prepare for the airport. You do have to have a return flight, so your flight going to Maldives and back to South Africa or back to wherever you're traveling from. Secondly, you have to have a confirmed hotel booking there. Thirdly, you should have travel insurance. Also, you should have a COVID test that is negative. Obviously, at the moment, we're living with COVID, so a negative test for Maldives, they require that your test, it should be within 96 hours, so nothing more. So it can be less. For example, with me, I did my COVID test 2 days before I left, because it takes like about 24 hours. So I did it on the Tuesday. I got the results on the Wednesday and I traveled on the Thursday. So it's always good to check with your lab whether they take 24 hours, 48 hours. But yeah, the closer to the travel date that you can get the results, the better. Other documents that I prepared is just proof of funds, which for me was my bank statement to show them that I would actually have money to spend in Maldives. Amongst other things that you have to do for Maldives, you have to fill in a form just 24 hours before you travel, which they use on your arrival. So it's your passport, it's your travel insurance, it's your flights, it's your accommodation booking. Also, I prepared proof of funds, but to my surprise, when I got to the airport, the lady only requested, return flights. She also requested proof of accommodation booking, as well as just the COVID test. So I prepared all those documents and they didn't actually request them, but I would advise over preparing rather than under preparing, because you never know. So always important, wherever you're going, if they don't require a visa for that place, prepare just all those documents. Those are just standard. So that's what I prepared for Maldives. Amongst other things to prepare, just do some of your research. For instance, here they have mosquitoes and those things, so we had to buy mosquito repellents, as well as, your sunscreen. Of course, you're gonna be a beach babe like me, so prepare your sunscreen, outfits, snacks. So if I'm actually really honest with you guys, I was so nervous about this trip to Maldives. I think I didn't sleep like 3 days before the trip. I was nervous. One, what if I test positive for COVID? Even though I hadn't been exposed to it, you just never know, because when I was traveling back to Cameroon, I tested positive for COVID and I didn't have any symptoms. I wasn't ill. It wasn't anything. So I was so nervous and I was like, what if? And we had booked like one of those non-refundable bookings. I mean, on booking.com, you can book packages that can be cancelled a couple of days before your trip and all of those things. But the package that we booked was non-refundable. So I was like, oh my goodness, what if? What if? So I was really nervous. I was also just worried, what if they want a certain document that I don't have? So I had a lot of like worries, and just, with COVID and everything, it just makes traveling so much more scarier, or, could it really happen? But if I'm being honest with you guys, it was so easy. It was swift. Everything just went smoothly. I was like, oh my God, Dionella, you didn't sleep for like nothing. Home. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Whew. But I'm so nervous at the same time. I'm so nervous. You just don't know what could possibly happen, what could go wrong, and all of those things. So literally my intestines are just like on my neck. But yeah, so nervous I can barely eat right now. So I have just not even slept well the past 3 days, because one, this is my freaking dream destination. I'm excited. I'm worried about what could go wrong. First, I was nervous about the COVID test, and guys, I haven't slept well at all. I was first worried about the COVID test. Is it going to be positive? Is it not? Like, even though I wasn't feeling ill or anything, you just like never know. And then now I'm just worried what could possibly go wrong, even with documents and those things, because we don't need a visa for Maldives. So usually it's more trickier at the airport than when you have a visa, because if you have a visa, everything is perfectly fine. They don't require too much. But when a destination doesn't require a visa, usually at the airport you have to produce like a bunch of documents. I've literally prepared every single thing I can think of under the sun, but I'm still like a little bit nervous because you just never know. So yeah, yo guys, yeah, anyway, asante, let's go. So excited. I'm gonna take you guys just through the trip now itself. So I got to the airport. Normally you're supposed to be there 2 hours before an international flight, but I got there like 3 hours just in case, you know, they need an additional document that I don't have. And this happened when I was going to Dominican Republic. They literally just asked for what? They asked for just proof of leave at work, that my work actually granted me leave. I was like, what? And they also wanted me to have like cash in euros and those things. So I was like, okay, let me just try to be a little bit earlier so that in case there's something that I need to do, I still have time and I'm not panicked and I'm not late for anything. So you know, you go through first checking in. So I checked in my luggage, which was also smooth, quite fine. The attendant just asked for my COVID test, my passport, as well as my return flights and accommodation. So that's all she actually asked for. I did that, and then I went across through border control. You know, they stamped my passport, was ready to leave. While I was there, I was also still a little bit nervous. Like, what could go wrong now? Could anything go wrong now? You know, I was so worried. So I was worried the whole time. Fine, time comes for us to board. I boarded, everything was fine. I was using Singapore Airways. When we enter, they gave us a bottle of water. They also gave us like a COVID kit. Gate control. International departures. Wapa. Fly the flag. I love this so much. I just had a coffee while I waited as I was really early. Boarding, how exciting. Singapore. Got these as we're coming in. This cake that I provided for
Very good afternoon. Place your hands on top of your head. In an emergency event.
This is the toilet. They're usually quite small as usual. They have this toothbrushes if you need. And then this is moisturizing and lotion. And then this is the toilet. This bathroom selfie, it's different. It does, guys. I'm sorry, but like, I'm in the air on an international flight. And you have to wear your mask throughout the flight, you know, so like the whole time, which was a little bit difficult for me, if I'm being honest, because at some point you're like suffocating, you're not really breathing well. And this is like a 9-hour flight. On the way to Singapore, we've been on the flight for like just 4 or 5 hours. Let me tell you, I am so tired of wearing a mask. actually going through my Instagram right now while I'm on air, and they're giving us a whole 2 hours. Imagine. Exciting stuff. Thank you so much. It is now time for breakfast, and I'm having some green tea. That's my eyes on Sanaya se Asia. Hello. Also on the way, we were served dinner, we were served breakfast, and I mean you can have drinks like as much as you want, which I think I had like 1 or 2 glasses of wine and some coffee. And then you have all your beautiful views along the way. Then we got to Singapore. When we got to Singapore, they told us that because of COVID restrictions and all of those things, we're not going to be able to roam around the airport. So we had like a 3-hour stopover. So we can't roam around, we can't go anywhere. So they put us in a specific area. I have to say that they were very efficient, very quick. They even gave us tags, and they said we'll let you know when you guys need to go. So we took like a sitting in like a waiting sort of like area.
5:50, 550. It took us about 5 to 10 minutes to taxi to the gate.
In Singapore now, I'm so tired. You can actually pay here. This is nice. Menu of the day. Interesting stuff. They even have a place to rate the toilet. Let's see. That's first. Thank you for your feedback. This is Singapore Airport. They have a place where you have drinking water. In consideration of public hygiene, drinking water cooler has been temporarily switched off. Please use the bottle refiller. Which one is the bottle refiller? This one. Okay. But it was really, really pleasant. And then they called us, you guys need to board. They finally called us to go board. Yay. What's SkyTrain? We're on the way now to go board the plane and the train.
Passengers going to Terminal 2, please alight at this station.
Just made it through border control. You just pass your bag, nothing much. They didn't check for anything whatsoever. Well, I obviously didn't have any perfume or anything in my bag, son.
Dawn and the rest of the crew will make sure you're inducted and accepted and enjoy flight.
Can I just have red wine? Red wine. Thank you.
At this point, I was
I
screaming.
arrived in Maldives, and well, it's a little bit hot, but life is fine. I'm still worried, you know, like could something go wrong once I've arrived? But at least at this point, I'm like a little bit calmer. I was even able to sleep from like Singapore to Maldives. When I get to Maldives, you know, so I go through like border control, 'cause, you know, and then they just ask for like my passport. And I think on the system, they can see that form that you have to fill like 24 hours before. So they just check my face, and they also just ask for, I think, accommodation and those things. And voila, I was in Maldives.
Guys, I'm here. I'm so excited. Oh my God. The trip back from Maldives was pretty similar. Just remember to fill in that 24 hours before you travel, that declaration form. And yeah, it was the same as how we went, with the exception that I heard some Zulu in Singapore airport. I was so excited. I was like, that's my people. That's my people. The flight from Singapore to Johannesburg was more full, and I got to catch this beautiful sunrise. Oh my goodness, I went crazy at this moment. Wow. And we are back to Johannesburg. We only just had to fill in an entry form at the airport, and then they stamped our passport, and that was it.
And that's it for Maldives, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.
Don't worry, you guys. I will be doing a video showing you guys Maldives. This was just the info video and just taking you with me on the trip. Yeah.
If you are not yet subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. So hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like, comment, tell me what you guys thought. Also, do put on your notification bell so that you're notified the next time I post a video. See you guys soon.